I'm Eleanor, if you've not met before. Hello, it's lovely to meet you. I'm just saying hello. Hello everyone. Hope you're cozy. Grab a coffee, grab your knitting project, and let's chat about my winter knitting plans. Now these are some of the sweaters that I've been absolutely dying to cast on. There's sweaters, cardigans, socks, all sorts. They're real bucket list items, some of them things that I've been eyeing up, waiting for patterns to release. Without further ado, let's start talking about them. My first project in this winter knitting plan is to finish my storm sweater by Petite Knit for my partner, and I think we're doing pretty good. He is enormously tall. He's 6'3", I think, which is like a whole foot taller than me. So I need to knit, and I like my sweaters cropped as well usually. So I need to knit a lot more on this, but I think we're making really good progress. So that is the first thing that I'll be knitting on before I am allowed to cast on any more jumpers. That's what I've told myself, because otherwise I'll get so excited about what else is going on and I'll never finish this. So we're going to finish the storm sweater, which I am really enjoying. These bite-sized texture bits of pattern. It's a really lovely sweater to work on, and I'm doing this in Drops Charisma in the colour olive, and really enjoying time spent on this. So I think that's my pre-Christmas project. I'm going to try and get this done before January, and then I think, because I might be getting some yarn or yarn vouchers and needles for Christmas, depending on what Father Christmas brings, and that's going to really ignite my excitement to work on these things. So I want to get that done as soon as possible. I've got another week and a half of work and then I'm off for the Christmas period. So I'm hoping to get a lot of this done, sat in front of a Hallmark movie or two, a bit of Chad Michael Murray, which will be really fun. So after that, we're then on to new projects to start. That's the only whip in this video, and because it's a very important one for me to finish, this is something that my partner, if you saw my last podcast, my partner's been asking this for a really long time. So that's really important to get that done, and then we'll be on to all these sort of bucket list items. The first one is something that I have been eyeing up and seeing other people working on, and just really wanting to cast this on. I think Morgan at Morgan Unraveled and Young Folk Knits have both cast this on recently, and the intense FOMO that I am experiencing from not joining them and casting this on, it's real. And that is the Lumi sweater by Sari Nordland. I think I'm going to knit this. I'll talk about the patterns, and then most of them I've either got a yarn in stash or plans of what yarn I think I'm going to use. So I'll talk you through both the pattern and the yarn selection for that. Lumi sweater by Sari Nordland. This colourwork just scratches an itch. I mean, when it came out, I think last year or earlier this year, and there were a lot of people knitting it, it wasn't really something I was super interested in, but the more I've seen it around, the more I just love all the motifs. I love that there's quite a lot of traditional like leafy motifs, and then those big flowers, and I love that it's like a plain body, but then you get some repetition on the sleeves. Oh, actually, I didn't talk you through what I'm wearing today. This is my sweater number 18 by My Favourite Things Knitwear, knit in Drops Nepal, and this is one of my coziest, most favourite things to wear. I love this, and I love this yarn. It does pill a bit, but it's so soft. So slight sidetrack, back to Sari Nordland. Yeah, I just think that the colourwork in this is just divine, and I've never done a circular yoke before, so I think that would be really nice to add to the collection, and I just feel like it will be really Moorish. I've never actually done a stranded colourwork full jumper before. All of my colourwork on jumpers has either been duplicate stitch, or my colourwork's been on smaller items like socks. So I definitely think, for me, I've been knitting a whole year now, that this year, 2025, will be the year of colourwork garments for me. So I think I'm going to knit this in the Vilcolana Peruvian Highland wool. I think the sample is knitted in Cascade 220, and I did look at Cascade 220, but I just had this really rich rusty orange idea in my head of what I wanted to knit this with, and I couldn't really find a colour within Cascade that I really wanted to use. So I thought I had a look at the Vilcolana because I know that's a very similar gauge, and I've not worked with it before, but I have some in my stash and I do find that quite soft. So I thought that would be a really nice, it's a very sort of plump yarn, so I thought it would be really nice for colourwork. And I'm really interested in the colours Red Squirrel and Marzipan, which I'll put the colours up on the screen here as well, so you can see sort of the plans, the vision for this sweater, because I'm really excited for it. I just feel like that sort of rusty brown with the cream accents will just be absolutely perfect. I'm really looking forward to this one. Next on my list is an unreleased pattern that I am really waiting for. I'm so excited, and that's the Staffin by Rebecca Clow. I considered applying for the test knit for this, but I've just had so much on my plate, work-wise and life-wise, that I decided this winter is not the time to take on test knit, so I didn't apply. So I've been waiting really patiently for the January release of this pattern, and I think I'll basically be casting it on as soon as it's released. It's beautiful. Because I'm really enjoying the Storm sweater for my partner, I've been craving texture for me, and I think this really will fit that. And what I love even more is the fact that it's a raglan, so it's a raglan with all that texture, which means it's just going to be in the round the whole time, so really easy. No pearl rows, other than obviously what's in the pattern, but no, you know, working on the reverse, it's all in the round raglan. And the yarn that Rebecca has chosen for this, I'm really looking forward to working with, so I think I will buy the recommended yarn, which is Rama Fivel, and it just looks like the plumpest, most rustic looking but soft yarn, so I'm really looking forward to trying that out. And they have beautiful colours, so I'll put some colours on the screen here as well as I'm talking this through, because the sort of the vision that I have for this is it being a really rich, cozy, textured, oversized, sort of the same sort of vibe as this, but this one's quite cropped, as you can see. So I throw this over the top of dresses. I only wear dresses, I never wear trousers, but something maybe a little bit longer and just really fluffy and cozy and thick, and perfect for those sort of January, February months. So yeah, I'd really like to cast that one on as soon as I can. And I think I looked at some colours called copper, burgundy, there's one called dark chocolate, and they're all really rich sort of brown, red, purple tones. So I'm really excited to try that yarn as well. So very much looking for that pattern. I'm not sure if there's a set release date yet, but she has said it's coming out in January. The next one is also an unreleased pattern that is coming out in January. So I have included a couple of unreleased patterns in this video, but just because I know they're coming out within the winter months and will be top priority when they do come out, and things that I'm really eagerly anticipating. And that is the Iris Pullover by Trin Annelie. I hope I'm saying that right. This is so beautiful. I've not seen much chatter about this online, but I just think it is really gorgeous. The way the colour work flows, I think there's about 6 or so colours in this, and they just sort of all really blend in this floral leafy motif. And I really love the colours that she's chosen. And I've also seen some of the test knitters, I think I would do this sort of browns in the leaves, and then I've seen test knitters do pink flowers, blue flowers, purple flowers. so I'm not sure what I'd pick. But I'm really, really looking forward to this pattern release. This is a real bucket list one for me, because having an all over colourwork fingering weight sweater seems like a really daunting thing, but I'm really, really looking forward to it, and I feel like it will be really, really special. It's one of those things that you'd put on and go, I made that, and I really want that moment. So I just think this is a fabulous pattern. I'm really, really looking forward to the release of it in January. I feel like in my head the 16th has been mentioned as a release date for this, but I could be totally wrong, so I will put on the screen if there is a confirmed release date. But the yarn that is recommended for this is the Holstgarn Super Soft, which, yeah, it's a fingering weight wool that's quite fuzzy and rustic looking, and I really, really like that, so I think I would choose the same recommended yarn to knit this with, and probably some slight colour differences, but remain in that sort of browns and creams, just maybe go a bit darker for my tastes. Replace the sort of sandy kind of colours with some more browns, and then I'm not sure on the sort of contrast colour for the flowery parts. I'm thinking maybe purples, but I feel like you can just be so creative with it. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, I would use the recommended yarn, I think, for that, and just change the colours slightly to fit my colour palette. I'm just very, very inspired by this piece. And yeah, I would really, really like to knit this in the winter of 2025. So that's definitely going to be that's going to be, I think, my sort of big all over colourwork project for the year. Next up, I've had a real hankering for a pair of Colorwork socks. I feel like I've not knit a pair of Colorwork socks in ages. The last pair of socks I knit were all one colour, all over texture. And I feel like, yeah, I just feel like I've not done any Colorwork socks in a little while. So Colorwork socks is generally the sort of plan. I haven't decided exactly what pattern I would like to do, but a couple of the ones I'm really interested in are the Quilty Cabin socks by Horse Feather Fibre Arts. I really, really love these socks, and actually I've got some stash yarn that I think would work for those. I really like this sort of purpley blacky sort of colour, and then I would probably pair like a cream or something, or maybe, you know, a pale grey, maybe something with a little less contrast than this. But this is a yarn that has the label that's fallen off. But I did talk about this in a podcast, so you've probably seen this if you've checked out my podcasts. I believe it was the first episode of my podcast where I talked about this in the acquisition section, so if you're interested, I know I had the details in that video, so go check that one out. But yeah, that's one option. The other one would be something by the Petite Knitter. I've knit a couple of pairs of the Petite Knitter socks before, and they are really, really beautiful, but I think I'd like to take on something a little bit more advanced, I think. So I really, really like the Bearberry socks, and I think, again, I've got some stash yarn that I might use. These lovely rustic dark brown and cream colour, and these are Drops Fable, and this is actually some of my favourite sock yarn, because whilst it's quite rustic, it's not the softest. I find that it holds up really well. A lot of the sort of merino sock wools, for me, I find they stretch out a bit, but these really hold their own, so I think for colourwork that is really nice. So, and I just, that combination, tell me that's not giving the Petite Knitter, come on. And I love the way that she always does, in like, one sock is the inverse of the other, so if this is the main colour and this is the contrast colour, on the other sock this one would be the main colour and this would be the contrast colour. So I love the way she does that. So maybe these will both end up happening, but I have a habit of being over ambitious, so the chances of getting around to both of these, I don't know, but tentatively a pair of Colourwork socks is on this list, and hopefully stash yarn. Next up is the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordland. I won't go on about this too much because I've spoken about it in previous podcasts as a plan of something that I want to cast on when I acquired this yarn, and everyone has talked about this cardigan, but I would really like to cast this on. I already have the yarn for it. Have a spattered quantity of Cascade 220 in the colour, I think this is Burnt Sienna Heather, but the colour number is 9656. And it's this lovely sort of mould, browny, reddy, purpley, greeny. It's got a bit of everything in this. And it's just quite plump and textured, and I think it would work really well, so I'm really looking forward to casting that one on. I was so eager to cast this on that I bought all the yarn and I swore I was going to cast it on like immediately, but then other things have just got in the way, so I haven't got around to that one yet, but I do want to maintain it because I feel like that would be my perfect cozy cardigan. But it's just when I have the energy emotionally and spiritually to work on that many cables. The next thing is I would really like to knit a pair of cashmere mittens for myself. If you saw my last podcast, you will know that I am working on a pair of cashmere mittens for my mum for a Christmas present. And I really want to knit a pair for myself because when I'm working on them and I just feel that beautiful cashmere, I'm very jealous that they will be being given away because they feel so beautiful. And so I bought 2 balls of the Cardiff Cashmere Small for my mum's mittens, but I've just finished the first mitten, and it's weighing in at like 10 grams, and these are 25 gram balls, so I am sure I'm going to have enough within one ball to do her mittens. So I'm going to have a whole one left over, and I didn't realise the yardage of this goes so far because it's only 25 grams, so I was sure I'd need 2, but there's 170 meters in here, and it's a very sort of light fingering, so I'm going to have a whole ball left over, and I wouldn't usually choose black, but that's what she wanted, so but I obviously want to use up what I've got. And they would be practical, they would go with everything. I wear a lot of dark colours, so black is practical. I just find it a little boring. And actually, as everyone knows who tries to knit with black yarn, it's not super easy. So I think what I will do is potentially the School Run mittens by Laura Penrose, because they are not textured. I'm knitting a lace work pattern for my mum's mittens, which, seeing what I'm doing with lace in black yarn is a challenge. So I think I'll knit the Laura Penrose ones because that will be, I feel like that will be quicker and simpler. It's got the picot edge, so there's a little bit of prettiness there, and actually the way it's constructed is really interesting because it's got a folded cuff at the bottom and the top, and that's how you get the picot edge. So you work with a single strand and then fold it double, and then work double stranded and then work single stranded and fold it over. So actually the bulk of the hand is work double stranded, and she recommends the Filclana Arwetta, which I find to be quite a light fingering, so I feel like that would match up quite well with this, and the yardage is about right, so I feel like I could get a pair of those out of this. They'd be really soft and I feel like they'd be really quick because I'm holding it double. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, just to have a little luxurious treat for myself, but make it a little bit easier on the eyes and on the fingers than doing another super textured fingering weight cashmere project. And then the last project I want to talk about, I feel like we've absolutely flown through these, which is what I wanted to do really, because I end up talking so much and my last video was so long, so we are speeding through. The last project I want to talk about is the OG socks by the New York Year, and this is a project that is not for me. My husband-to-be, fiance, saw this pattern, I described it to him, and he loves anything sort of gothic. and this pattern is actually inspired by Gothic like arches and Gothic architecture, and he loved that a lot. He's really knit worthy. I've knit him a couple of pairs of socks and he wears them and wears them and wears them. He loves them, so adding another couple of pairs to his rotation will probably prolong the life of the ones he's got already. And yeah, he just loves them, and he always brags to his friends when he's like, look at my socks, my partner knitted them for me, and it's so wholesome. He's very, very knit worthy, so I think I will end up knitting him another pair as well. And he actually picked out yarn already. This is one of the Emma's yarns. Actually, I think I've got the label in here so I can tell you what it is. So this is the Emma's yarn Practically Perfect Socks in the colour Kale. And this is a superwash merino, 20%, 80%, and then 20% nylon. And this is the hand dyed that my local yarn store stocks. It's not actually my favourite. I find it's only got kind of, if you can see, it's only 2 plied, and I find it quite loosely plied, and it always seems to stretch out a little bit for me. But I have it in stash. He bought it for himself, for me to knit, and he loves green, so I feel like this will, being slightly variegated but not heavily variegated, will show off that texture really well of the sort of Gothic arch motif. So yeah, I feel like he'll really, really enjoy those. So that should hopefully get done, but that's probably a lesser priority given that he's having his sweater. I feel like I deserve to knit something for me next, but I would like to get to that hopefully this winter. And I'm soon to be officially unemployed. If you've caught up on my social accounts, I'll put my Instagram link here, and my TikTok will be in the description. But yes, I've left my full-time job and we are going to be freelance creative, so it's all going to be a lot, but I feel like as I'm trying to build up my freelance work portfolio, there may be some downtime, so hopefully I can get quite a lot of knitting done, and that will be one of the positives of being terrifyingly unemployed. But we're trying to take the positives of 2025, and it's going to be a creative year with lots and lots of plans of makes and projects. You can head over to my social media if you'd like to hear more about that, and sort of daily updates. I'm trying to do quite a lot of stuff on our house renovation to come. Haven't really done anything like that yet, but I would really like to. I post what I'm reading, what I'm working on, so if you'd like to see the progress of any of these patterns as I'm working on them, then please do join me on Instagram and TikTok. So thank you so much for getting cozy with me. I would love to hear what your bucket list knits are for the next year or just forever. So if there's any patterns you're absolutely dying to cast on in the next year, then please leave them below. I'd love to take a look, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.